In July 2017, the Democratic Republic of North Korea claimed that they had developed long-range missiles able to hit anywhere in the world. While this may be a slight overstatement, a threat previously laughed off as nonsense is slowly, day by day, becoming more real. Hello and welcome back to Life's Biggest Questions, the channel that looks to answer exactly those. I'm Rebecca Felgate, and today we're asking, how big of a threat is North Korea really? And I want to warn you, you may not like the answer. Some say a country is only as good as its leaders, and North Korea is a country essentially led by a dictator. There has been just one family in charge since its conception. The current leader is 33-year-old Kim Jong-un, who appears to be extremely insecure, volatile, and aggressive. Unelected and afraid of being overthrown, Kim's actions in his 6 years in power have been erratic to say the least. Over the past few years, he has killed his own uncle, his aunt, and his half-brother. A person in power with the mental state of Kim Jong-un should be feared. Kim has threatened to burn Seoul and Manhattan down to ashes. He has also made direct threats to Japan and Australia. While a combination of being somewhat unprepared to launch attacks and a desire to defend his status as the country's leader has so far stopped him making any serious declarations of war, if his power was ever truly in jeopardy and he thought he was going to be overthrown, some behavioral experts believe that he could turn suicidal and start launching very harmful weapons at whatever target he can reach. Of course, while Kim Jong-un has the most power to act for North Korea, he is not the sole representative of the country. There is a good chance that, if he were killed, the North Korean race would still be somewhat of a threat. This is because from a very early age, citizens of the Democratic Republic of North Korea are brainwashed to hate the United States of America. Children's stories frequently depict Americans as nasty, cunning wolves ready to kill them. As they get older, men and women are forced into mandatory military training, with 25% of the entire population actually in the army. At over 5 million people strong, this is the largest paramilitary organization on Earth. And guess what? They're also taught to hate enemies of the state with a murderous venom. At military drills, propaganda videos show intercontinental ballistic missiles destroying American cities such as Washington, D.C. and San Francisco. So, about those weapons. We already know that North Korea have a large army, which could do a lot of damage if fighting ever took place on home soil or in South Korea. But the man mass isn't really too much of a threat to the rest of the world. What are threats, however, are bombs. It's thought that North Korea may have developed up to 20 nuclear weapons. While this pales in comparison to the 7,000 or so that the United States has, nuclear power in the hands of a megalomaniac should not be ignored. Despite having nuclear power, until recently it was thought that North Korea had absolutely no way of delivering them to their targets any further away than their neighbors in South Korea. With their intercontinental ballistic missile tests of early July 2017, while North Korea may not be able to reach anywhere in the world like they claim, the test did seem to indicate that they could reach a distance of up to 5,000 to 6,000 kilometers away, which means Alaska could be in the firing line. If they keep testing, which they are doing despite heavy sanctions placed on the country by the UN and China, how long before they could reach the 11,000 or so kilometers to Washington, D.C.? That being said, even if the ballistic missiles are able to reach these ranges, there are still complicated technological hurdles that could get in the way of actually being able to hit their targets. But these are exactly that, hurdles. While North Korea has failed in the testing stage many times, they keep persisting, and persistence is a clear path to success. Of course, the United States, the Japanese, Australians, and South Koreans aren't defenseless and could by all means counter the attacks. Right now, America and South Korea are working together on the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System. This can block about 90% of attacks. However, that isn't foolproof. If one slipped through the net and hit South Korea, it could kill nearing 500,000 people, which is a pretty huge threat indeed. Similarly, American defense systems aren't perfect. If North Korea launched multiple missiles, there is a very distinct possibility that one could hit, which not only would be devastating, would also spark an even more devastating war in Asia. So, North Korea is flexing their small but growing muscles. Can they pack a punch? The answer is probably someday soon, yes. Just because North Korea wants us to worry about them doesn't mean that we shouldn't. While a threat from North Korea is not in the same league as a threat from China or Russia, it is a threat threat nonetheless, and from a leader probably crazy enough to act upon it regardless of the consequences. Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Life's Biggest Questions. Do you think that North Korea should be seen as a threat? Let me know in the comments section down below. For now, I'm Rebecca Felgate. Remember to stay curious, stay alert, and never ever stop questioning.